While I play some Heroes Hour in the background, I might just talk about a topic I've been thinking about. That topic is the communication styles between offline and online contact. Because I am someone who does not operate as well with online contact. Offline I'm okay, obviously. That really was proven recently because I went to a thing very recently where I didn't know anyone there. It could have gone badly or well, depending on how I was, right? But it worked out really quite well, all in all, because it was in a in-person communication. And that I think is the sad thing about some things today. The whole online application of everything makes massive disconnect where I feel a lot of the soul of connection with others is now lost officially. What can you do in terms of connecting to other people? The same people I get on with in person. Online, it's much more strained, even then. So, as a hypothesis, I think that's actually correct myself. There is stuff I did looking into it, as of why, and it's something I came to myself about what actually felt so wrong about it. For me, what feels wrong about it is the fact that you can't necessarily just be yourself. If you're dealing with such situations, you can't just be at ease. And that's the sad part for me. Even if you want to just be at ease, you can't just be at ease. It's a very sad case because it's a system in which if your communication style is not a online focused communication style and you value a lot more in-person authenticity, you will face far more issues in today's economy overall. And that I think is a huge, huge issue facing things. It's a one which I think is going to be really harmful long term. But it's kind of cool. I want them. Oh, they're cool. By that I mean trying to engage with others. If you can't engage with others in who they actually are and for themselves, how do you actually then communicate with them in their personality, in who they actually authentically are? The reason I ask that is because the disconnect you find in a lot more modern online friendships is often more cold and transactional than anything else. It's a case in point where I think it's really quite a sad existence. Recently doing something different worked out, so it was fine, but in general, others were never anywhere as willing to do anything, like in person. And the whole in-person element is, I think, what makes the distinguishing factor more there. Of course, if you disagree with me, you feel free to say your opinion. And yes, I know there's the things that say that the online stuff can favour certain people who have anxieties or stuff like that. But the thing is, if you want actual good connections in today's age, how are you supposed to get those good connections? If you can't even be open to yourself, can't even be open to who you are, can't even express can't even openly say what you want from others, and can't actually be there for others, who are you then? In the grand scheme of things, who are you really? I ask that genuinely, because if you are one of those people who can't express yourself without a means or excuse, how are you supposed to go anywhere with that? That's like I never understood. The other thing I don't understand is, how do you connect with people online? As in, what do you bond over? As someone who cares much more about intellectual things, trivial conversations I really don't care about. So bonding over stupid stuff, I really don't care one bit about. And that's the sad part about this as well, is that I don't care for people. I just don't care to virtue signal. I don't care to pretend to be there for you in a superficial way and abandon you. I plan to actually be there for other humans, but I honestly feel that the connection that other humans have just isn't there often with online stuff. And when you don't, and that is the biggest thing for me, I guess, is that I don't understand it. This is partially what in this video I want to talk about and ask is, how do people basically do it? Can you explain in some detail how and why you develop certain mentalities about it? Because I don't know how you do it. I genuinely don't. It's always been a thing where I struggled a bit. It's always being one of those things in which it's like, yes, I can do certain things. I technically can do it, but why? Why do people do things online? We can do it in person, where you can actually be there for them and actually do something with them more directly. What is the principle around that? I just don't understand it one bit. The in-person stuff, you can actually be there with the person. You can actually understand them. If they have any actual issues, you can actually help them. It's not like just pretend to care and then go your own way the next second. Actual care requires actual effort. Actual friendships requires actual care for the other human being's existence. If the person cannot provide that care as a human being, I don't really understand how exactly people do it. How do you form a friendship then in that situation when you know full well that the person you're talking to will never actually support you or help you? And that's something I never understood. I could have, of course, at the same time, it could be a case in which I'm just getting the wrong people entirely. That is also partially could be the case as well, but I genuinely do not understand it. it's a case where I am very confused at how people even make friends online. The friends I have, which I have online contact with, mostly, is people who I met in person, then connected later with, and it's used online as a medium of contact, so to speak. But it's not necessarily about the online itself that is guiding anything at all. The online element is only just a means of communication to get stuff actually happening. And that's where I think my stance to it is. Online is a mere tool, much like how I see AI as a mere tool. How then do you have a tool become the thing guiding literally everything? That I just never understood. So reasons checking this. Okay, got 43 good. 5. I don't care about it too much. Doesn't matter. Yeah, as I say, online. The other issue you have with online stuff is the dynamics online. I find are far more clinical and cold. The connection to the other person is often lacking. If you want proper actual insight, proper communication, or proper dynamics where you're actually talking to an actual person and not just a facade of a person, where do you find it? Some say work, some say other, bits like that. But this is the thing. As having my own family, they had people they got on with through work. The second they were out of that workplace, they basically cut contact. So how then are they supposed to... How then are they supposed to then connect with the other person if, let's say, they're dealing with someone who mostly gets on with people they work with? Because stuff like being friends only with your neighbours or locals or your work people, that doesn't mean much. Because you can be forced out of where you live. You can be removed from that situation, and on top of that, it can be also be a case in which even if you do the best thing, you can still fail. So in that sense, I will argue that... What's this one? In this sense, I will argue that the coldness of it all is really suffocating. And it's really quite isolating at the same time. How then are you supposed to get that connectivity anymore? Community is only temporary, as ultimately, if as other renters would know, you only exist in the community so long as your landlord doesn't screw you over. And if you only exist in the community or job as long as your employer or landlord doesn't screw you over, what then do you have? You need something more than that. You need someone who can be there for you that isn't just so conditional or just only while things are good. There needs to be that sense of loyalty to those people there. Otherwise, why else would you communicate often with them. And that's something I do not really hugely understand. How can you just establish such close connections like that? Because I see people, and that's the thing that stopped me from getting fandoms actually. Fandoms I've never been able to connect with. For that reason alone, is that if you really, really wanted to do anything with them, you can't. Because it's online. And if you don't have much of a... But if you really, really want help, or really, really want someone there to do something with, what are you supposed to do then? It's because online it's only a temporary relief. Because you can get to them online temporarily, but then once you're offline, you're basically abandoned the next second. And yes, I know people can say you're not entitled to certain things, and you're correct on that, but where is the dignity of, let's say, caring for someone, caring for your fellow human being in your community, and not just seeing them as a massive inconvenience? Because if you see your fellow human as an inconvenience, that's just sad. And if you see them as disposable as well in that light, what do you actually have as a human when or if anything goes down? Because a lot of the issues you have can't just be resolved by online moral support. If you're literally going through things in which online support, well, technically something, is not really the answer. That is the issue. When you actually need that help, when you actually want that help, you can't get it. And that is a sad reality of what I have noticed a lot more nowadays. You want the help, we can't get the help. You can't get that community anymore. It's balkanized and you're isolated. So for me, I feel that online only creates a new wave of isolation, where the whole point of the systems in society isolates you even more. So on top, if the systems is trying to isolate you, and then people don't support you either in general society, it's a sad state of resistance, and it's very cold of a reality to live around. Because how then do you do things if you aren't motivated by ego or selfishness and actually care for fellow human beings? What then do you do? Because if you can't actually be that person who's caring and you can't get any care back from people, it's just slightly depressing in some ways. And in that sense, it's a state of affairs in which there is a clear thing in which the whole phone culture and the whole tech culture stuff is a major negative. Because if you can't actually have other humans there for you if it's absolutely needed, you have no one. And that's what's sad. It's a society where you have no one. A society of abandonment. And the whole online culture only reinforces that, where the abandonment then continues and keeps going. People reinforce the abandonment to keep people only act in a selfish way, not supporting other people in their community. And then what happens? People get abandoned, people get left behind, they become invisible, shut off. And then let's say the social media or online communication using then decides to shut you off. Connection lost. The only bridge to the person annihilated. So I will say, therefore, what then do you do? If people are so reliant and so focused on online communication, what then? Does this mean that we are going to lead into further more isolating conditions in which those who actually want to be there for people and be there for someone gets basically told they cannot have anyone, they cannot be with anyone, they cannot even have a proper friendship? What are you supposed to do then? Connection is important even more so now. Scarcity and hardship is growing. Inequality is growing. The housing market is getting too unstable in the sense of even if you do your best, you fail. So what I will then say is, what then? How do you then get through things if you have no support? And then the online culture then becomes such that the online support becomes effectively redundant. Because if the people online can't then have that be in real life, can they claim they are caring for you or are there for you at all? No. And that's a sad state of, that's the saddest part of it. You can try your best, do everything right, but ultimately, at the end of it all, you'll be abandoned. That's just how I see it. The whole online culture thing and fandoms and all of that, I just don't see it. So my point is not to really rant about anything, just more to say and ask outwardly, what do you see in this? Those listening to this video, what do you see in online stuff? Because I really struggle to see anything in it. I don't understand. That's basically all I wanted to talk about for now. I'll probably do some more structured stuff. I've been delaying doing some recordings because my own life is being thrown into complete chaos. So I can't exactly do stuff when I'm in such a terrible state, because it would really show in terms of my outcomes being very, very weak in the results. That's not the point. The point is that recently I've been wanting to have more connection with other people. And that connection I've been trying to have online recently. And that has been failing really quite badly long term. people who I thought were there, or could be there, didn't do it. They weren't actually there for me when I needed it. People who said they cared for me online as a person ended up doing nothing. Left to struggle and suffer. And that's the sad part of it all. And again, yes, it could be there's more people around, but I don't know where the white people even are. So yes, I will just leave it on that, I guess. That's comment below what you actually think on the matter, because I want to see how your thoughts on it is different than mine. If your thoughts is different, I'd be interested to see how your thoughts would differ from mine. And with that, goodbye.